Hello there, I am Zakiya Larry, Global Chief of Communications for Constellation, and I am here with none other than Najoh Tita-Reid. And let me tell you a little bit about her. Nope, just gonna give you the title because we're gonna unpack this together, Najoh. So she is the Global CMO of Logitech. Oh, no, just a little busy.
Thank you for having me, Zakiya. I know how
Yeah.
busy this week can be with so many people, so I'm honored to have the time to talk with you. So
Well, thank you for being here with us. And Najoh, you have such a varied career and you have so many experiences, but I would like to zone in on something very specific to Najoh.
Okay.
What has your experience been at Cannes, specifically for you personally, but also from your lens as a CMO?
Okay, well, it's been, multidimensional, as I think everything is at Cannes. It's so full and so rich. I would say because of who I am, right, I happen to be an African-American woman CMO living in Europe. And so those are just some of the statistics in which I fall under. But it also means that I do not see many people that look like me in the position or the industry. And so coming to Cannes is, I think, twofold, right? Many CMOs come because of the connections, the work, and being able to make better connections that allow for better business. Many people come because, and many times we are in the roles of inspiring others, and we want to also be inspired, and so it's a really great week to do that. And I came for both of those reasons, but I think the most important one is because we are in an unbelievably undiverse industry, and we're in an industry that impacts and changes the world. It creates perceptions, and people cannot be what they cannot see. And I feel a deep responsibility to be able to be here, to be on the main stage, to be able to show up, to be able to show the representation that we want more of in tech, which I represent, but also in the industry at large. And if I'm not here, I truly cannot, advocate for something that I'm not willing to put myself out there and represent and bring others up behind me. And so I came most importantly for that, and the other two I benefit from as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for walking through this and bringing so many people with you because of who you represent and the different facets of you. So then let's go a little bit deeper of the representation piece.
Yes.
DEI, hot topic, those are the three letters everyone loves. What are your thoughts about representation in the industry? You touched on it just now, but is there a responsibility, not just in tech, but in advertising, to do DEI differently?
Yes. I think before I do DEI differently, we need to do DEI. Period.
Period. Okay.
Because that would give us credit that we really don't deserve, that we've been doing it well for many years and now we need to step it up.
Sure.
We need to start doing it, and then we need to really work to be able to do it with excellence. But many really are just catching the bug or seeing the light or really understanding that the enabler for growth, the enabler for innovation, the enabler for creativity is diversity, right? This needs to be a business imperative, not a nice to have. This is not about something social justice. This is about smart business strategy. And so I really do think there's a responsibility for advertisers, for marketers, for everyone in the industry to be able to make sure that their base of talent represents the world, the consumers and customers that they serve. I also feel like at Cannes there is an amazing opportunity to change the game. I just left the official DEI council of all the top CMOs and top creatives in the industry. We're in one room, and we talked about, real talk. What's the challenge? What's the problem? Why I've been talking about this for 22 years but haven't seen significant change. What are we going to do now that's differently? This is the first official Cannes DEI conversation ever, was just 2 hours ago. And to be in that room and sit with different leaders like Mark Pritchard and other amazing people on the creative side, and to be able to have that conversation of what we've all been doing for all of these years, but why this is our moment and we can't let it pass, was an unbelievable experience, and that was worth coming just for that alone. We made roadmaps, we made pacts, we made decisions, we made commitments to each other, and not for our own individual stake. It's for the collective and the future we want to see in the industry. And if we want to be here, this is a requirement. And everybody in that room understood it. But now it's important we get the message outside of that room. But we're marketers and advertisers. That's what we do.
And that's what we do best.
Yes.
So that was so incredible. Thank you for sharing that, because on one hand, for this to happen in 2022 to 20 minutes ago,
Yes.
sometimes a tough pill to swallow. At the same time, a moment to be celebrated because you mentioned roadmaps, you mentioned accountability. And so you're showing that we're moving beyond conversation.
Absolutely.
To that point, give me two things that Najoh hopes for in her heart for the industry. People use buzz terms like diversification of the industry. But for you, an African American woman who lives in another country, lives in Europe, you see from different purviews. Do you have two main wishes for diversifying the industry?
Okay, I know,
you can
right?
go for it.
You've turned into Genie in a bottle. Let me just see. There's so much I hope for, but I'd say, one thing that I hope is that we don't just look and see diverse talent for the outward that they have, gender, color, sexual orientation, which is not so outwardly depending on who you are, but it's something that people will be willing to share kind of more overtly nowadays than they used in the past, and other different characteristics that we don't just focus just on that, but we understand the value of people who come from different backgrounds. It is the unbelievable perspective that they have, the deep empathy they have for humanity, the different perspective that leads to brilliance, the brilliance in itself, right? The backgrounds that they bring to make things better, that we look and we see that talent as talent, not just as a diversity number, right? And understanding that talent is talent that you need to seek out and you need to run and beg to come to your organization because they're going to make you better and they're going to drive growth for your organization. They're going to drive creativity. So my hope is that people can see us for the talent that we are, not just for what you see on the outside.
Absolutely.
And know that people who are in this industry, and God knows if you happen to see people, they probably are the top 1% because it's so hard to get into the industry. That's important. I think another thing that I hope for, probably more as a manager, as a leader, is not just all the statistics, but I want everyone to see people. There is a real challenge and that people don't see you. They don't see me. They don't take the time to understand. You cannot leverage what you cannot see, right? So my hope is that people get curious, right? They get curious by people that are different than themselves and see the talent that's around them. Many of these companies have diverse talent. It's not like they're not in the industry, but have you seen the person? Have you absolutely potentially seen them as they see themselves and not how you see them? Have you created possibilities that maybe they haven't created for themselves? That seeing will change the game because you'll begin to put people in positions and places where they can make a meaningful difference and transform the industry. And so I do think those two things of being able to see the talent behind just the outward and seeing people for who they are and then leveraging those superpowers will change this industry forever.
Absolutely. You're speaking to my heart as a journalist who's now in strategic communications. And everything I do is about not just storytelling, but helping people to see the company, see the people. And so you're really illuminating something that I think is that next step in transformative DEI, seeing the people. Thank you so much for just really calling that out. That's incredibly powerful. So I'm going to let you go because she will be speaking again very soon. So I want to pivot the conversation really quickly. So let's get into some brass tacks about what you do every day in your role as CMO. Let's talk tech a little bit. Talk a little tech. So do you think technology is, or will it continue to play a pivotal role in pushing creativity forward? I kind of see technology in and of itself as a creative, living, breathing thing. What's your take on that?
Gosh, my take is that technology will force us to be more creative, okay? Many of us in the industry have created a playbook. This is what you do, here's going to brief, it's going to take a couple months for you to get this, and you're going to have a big idea, then poof, it's going to go everywhere. We have a playbook that we've been using for many, many, many years. Technology is going to force us to be able to communicate with people the way that they want to communicate. We used to control this medium. Technology is going to change how you do it. So instead of us having the luxury of 90-second commercials and 30 seconds, you need to get that down to 6 seconds, 3 seconds, do it in bite-sizable, make it fun, make it enjoyable, make it entertainment. So I think technology is forcing us to potentially do what consumers have always wanted. Because we're going to have to be more creative in order to keep up with the pace of technology, if that makes sense.
It makes 100% sense. And I'd like to add on to that, and I do not work for Logitech.
Yes.
It will force us to be more creative, but also I think it brings that diversity and true inclusion to the forefront. And here's where I'm going with this. Your Defy Logic campaign.
Yes.
I would love for you to unpack that a little bit because you featured some of the most prolific creators. I'm going to rattle off a couple of them. Lil Nas X and Lizzo. Hello. So not only is this tech meeting culture, meeting creative, but also meeting this need for us to have diverse voices,
Yes.
diverse vibes, if I may,
Yes.
in a space that moves people forward. Why is this important for you to connect and empower creators and the creator economy in this way?
It's so important. Before I say anything, I want to thank my team because there's no CMO that develops a campaign by themselves or a platform. And so to Chris Parents, who's my chief creative director for the entire team for Vice Media that partnered with us, I'm extremely, extremely grateful to the entire cross-functional team that made Defy Logic happen and continues to have and breathe life into it. But the DEI aspect was very intentional. So I think it's really important that when you are in this seat, you use this seat to create the world and the change that you believe has
Yes.
always needed to exist, and I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
So when I have the opportunity to create a campaign, to be able to cast talent, to be able to show the reality of the world in which I live and not the
Right.
one that used to be in the past, then I'm going to use that. And the reality is, for so long, we have all been living in this old logic that quite frankly says
Yeah.
that we shouldn't even be in these seats right now. And that
Absolutely.
old logic doesn't allow us to
Absolutely.
change. But everything we've seen amazing, everything amazing I can, took somebody to question and defy logic, right? That's how you get this
Yes.
great creativity.
Yes.
That's how you drive change. And we really, because we make, products and the tools, right, that enable people to pursue their passions, whether it's in gaming, whether it's hybrid working, whether it's streamers and creators, whether it's people who learn, all of the technology, software services that we create enable people to pursue their passions. And so we felt like, who are the ones that we want to connect with? It's the game changers, it's the ones that defy logic. In doing that, no one can deny that diverse people always have to defy logic.
Always.
They can't look at the old logic of the past, or they wouldn't have been there in the first place. They cannot wait for permission. They've got to claim it, right? And they've got to be on their purpose, and they've got to change the game. And so I wanted to celebrate those people that defy logic. The creator economy is the economy, right? We make it sound like it's like just one of many, right? If you look at young people, over 50% of them want to be creators in some form of fashion. 50% for their profession,
Incredible.
right? And so when you look at that, the creator economy is going to be the future. It is, quite frankly, the present if you're looking closely.
Sure.
And so I wanted to represent each culture that I could. And so I really felt like Lizzo was the manifestation of defying logic through using her voice, being a true creator in herself. She happens to also redefine what beauty means and what it looks like and how it sounds like and how bold and bodacious and amazing that she is. And honestly, her values aligned with us because she's not doing it for herself. She absolutely is working to change the game and lift those behind her. And so every creator that we chose, Lizzo, Bretman Rock, Karis, Dinak D, I could keep go on.
Right.
Each one of them was defying logic in their industry of how you create, how you work, how you play. And I wanted to celebrate them and made sure they reflected the world that is in existence today that often does not get a spotlight.
Wow. I have chills. I know you do too. Thank you for that. We're going to digest this. Last question, and
Yes.
we'll land the plane here.
Yes.
We're going to center back on Najoh.
Okay.
Okay. Final question. If you had known then what you know now, that's the theme.
Yes.
What's the best professional, or I'm going to mix it up, personal advice you've received? If you had known then what you know now.
Gosh, I think if I knew then what I know now, I would say that my voice is more powerful than I knew it was.
Wow.
And to use my voice, first verbally using my voice,
Right.
but also the ideas that I have, the dreams that I have. Don't look for examples, right? Really imagine the impossible and then work to create that and curate that in your life. And so I did get more confident over time, enough that I really believe in using my voice and curating the life and the world that I want. But I don't think I was like Dorothy. I didn't know I could click my heels and had
Right.
that power the whole time,
Right.
and I probably did. And so I would encourage anybody out there who you have a dream, just go try it. You got a voice, make sure you use it. You know, you are fortunate and blessed enough to have both. Be bodacious, be bold enough, because in doing that, you give people inspiration to do the same.
Wow. That's how you land a plane. Najoh, thank you so much for joining us here
Thank you.
in the Stagwell Speakers Lounge. And to learn more about how Stagwell is transforming marketing, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter at Stagwell. And follow Najoh Tita-Reid, please, because I will.
Thank
I
you,
will.
Stagwell, for the time,
My
for
pleasure.
giving me an opportunity to share my voice and hopefully inspire the next generation of marketers and creators. So really grateful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.